What's up, you guys? Welcome back to this week's Sutra manga review. And in this week's video, we're going to be doing an ending review for the manga Mia Onjo no Neverland. Now, we've already did a general review of it earlier last week, but now that we have fully read the manga and we have saw how it ends, I want to talk about it as a whole and some of the messages and themes in it. Now, for starters, some of the things I'm disappointed in the manga is that we don't get to know what happened with Mia's parents. But we do understand and we do learn why Joemma has been kidnapping these kids. We do get to understand what the machine is and what are these vivid images that we're seeing. Joemma wants to create an amusement park because he used to work at an amusement park. We understand that the reason the adults are so robotic is because there used to be these black sites, or these places and locations or storage facilities where people stored a lot of their childhood memories or objects that would help them remember things. And the thing is, these crows that we see at the beginning of the manga, these crows that seem to have this type of totalitarian grip on the entire city, these same crows are consuming the memories of the adults. And this is why the adults have become more and more and more robotic and more and more and more artificial, because they cannot recall these past memories, these things that used to shape their identities. So with these black crows feeding on people's memories, the adults have become more and more robotic, and the only people that are holding on to any sense of childhood or type of identity are the kids. And Joemma kidnaps these kids so they can experience a couple of days of happiness in their fleeting childhoods. Now, where Mia is different from a lot of the other kids in this manga is the fact that Mia does not have parents. The fact that Mia, being on her own and having to endure the city on her own, has caused her to grow up and mature a lot quicker and a lot faster than normal kids. So Joemma notices with Mia, she cannot remember a lot of things. She cannot recall her past. She cannot recall her childhood. She doesn't smile like the other kids. And that's because she's had to grow up. She's had to mature. She's had to survive on her own. So she is more mature than the other kids. But we see towards the end of the manga that the crows have finally caught up to Joemma. They know where he is, and they manage to capture him. And they manage to tear down this entire amusement park that Joemma has been creating. And they end up detaining Joemma. And we see them put him in this type of holding facility that is supposed to correct people, you know? And we see Mia visit him, and we see Joemma give this robotic smile, this fake smile to her. And in Mia's opinion, it seems like they've already gotten to Joe. But what we see at the end is that Joemma gave her a seed. He gave her this small little red bubble that is supposed to be the seed for the amusement park. It's supposed to complete the amusement park. And we see Mia racing back to his home. And, you know, we see her manage to make it back to this rundown place that we assume is the amusement park. And, you know, as she's getting up the steps, this bubble is growing bigger and bigger and bigger until she can't hold it anymore. And once she lets it go, it becomes this grand amusement park that everybody from the city can see. And from this amusement park, people's memories are flowing forth. So we see all these adults reverting back to kid states. We see Joemma as a kid. We see a lot of different things going on. And I think one of the flaws of this manga, or manhwa, is that as amazing and as powerful as the artistic illustrations are, and the images that we see from panel to panel, sometimes the manga is moving so fast, and sometimes a lot of these scenes are going at such a high pace that it's hard to follow what's going on. It's hard to understand the dialogue between Joemma and Mia. It's hard to understand some of the things that are going on plot wise because the panels artistically are just so amazing, and it's almost like an overload. It's almost like a sensory overload in a sense where you have one thing going on with this panel. You have like elephants and whales leaping out of oceans, and you have jellyfish, and then the next moment you have Mia and Joemma going into this icy moon, and then you have them going back into this vibrant moon, and then everything's melting, and then everything's all vibrant again. It's a lot to go on, and it's a lot to process in the panels and the artwork, and you can easily get lost in it if you don't follow what's going on, or if you don't take your time to read from panel to panel and go back a couple of pages, make sure that you are following the plot correctly. It's easy to get lost. But I'd have to say Mia Unjou no Neverland is definitely like Hayao Miyazaki's films. In my opinion, it reminds me of Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle, like I said, but it also reminds me of like Ponyo with the oceanic themes going on there. And I think it's interesting to see Mia regain her sense of childhood, because towards the end we see her go from having a dead moon to it coming alive, to it melting, into her being able to remember her childhood and to remember her memories. And then we see Joemma transform from this quirky adult, to this mindless drone when the ravens capture him, to this childlike form once the amusement park is completed. Now, what happens to the crows, we don't know. What happens to the adults now that they're all kids now, we don't know. We don't know if this amusement park is a temporary thing or, if it's a long-term thing. But I think the manga ended on a good note. And if you are in for artistic elements of a manga, if you're in for visually explosive scenes, Mia Unjou no Neverland gives that to you, And Mia Unjou no Neverland, it's not a long manga. It's not a long series. It's basically 6 chapters. So it's a lot of artwork. It's a lot of plot. All of this condensed into 6 chapters. And if something is, relatively short and beautiful, and it has a very involving or appealing plot, emotionally speaking, I'd say Mia Unjou no Neverland is something for you to read. Now, I didn't cover all of that in my general review because we only read a couple of chapters in the general reviews. And I don't do ending reviews for manga unless I really do like the ending and I really do want to talk about the manga more in depth. And I feel like I can do that with this. Wubao basically makes Mia Unjou no Neverland from one of his drawings, or one of his artworks that he's originally did. And Wubao, I think at the beginning of the manga, he explains that this is more of a side project. So for this to be a side project and basically to be created from just one sketch or one drawing, that's amazing. So this is Vero. I like this manga. I'm going to probably reread it again in the future. I like it. It's one of those great, amazing, supernatural fantasy mangas. I would really like to see this adapted into an animated movie. Hopefully by, Ghibli, or hopefully by Hayao Miyazaki. It seems amazing. Bye.